Hello! This is the tutorial for how to use the Call of Duty Zombies mod kit for Pavlov in Unreal Engine 5, the World at War version. Okay, so this is a bit unscripted, kind of loosely, not really scripted. First, you're going to want to start with the Pavlov mod kit and the mod kit you download from my GitHub. So first with the Pavlov mod kit, you wanna unzip it. Let's just extract it here. You got your mod kit. And then I'm not sure what I'm gonna name it yet, but you're gonna do the same thing with yours. Let's just pretend that this quest maps test is the mod kit. You're gonna unzip it, and then you're gonna do this. You're gonna click it open. Click open the Pavlov kit, and then what you're going to want to do is just grab everything, just copy it over, grab everything from the zombie mod kit, drag it to the Pavlov mod kit. Ooh, that's a bit larger than I thought it was going to be. Okay, let's pretend that went by quick and it prompted me to replace files. Replace all the files. If it's saying, oh, there's two files with the same name, just replace them. And then you're going to get into your map. You go into your plugins folder, you are going to see these 4 folders. Ignore the rest of them, those are just my maps. You're probably going to have another one for your map. I am assuming that at this point you already have a map. And I am going to assume that you already have it working in Pavlov. If you have not gotten your map to upload to mod.io and you haven't been able to play it in Pavlov, just with the basic vanilla game modes, I cannot help you. I am going to be assuming that you have gotten that far first. Now, for actual zombie stuff, let's see, where do we start? Alright, so with your map, I'm going to assume it's all lit and colorful and however you want it. I'm making this one just a bit darker. This is a rip of an old custom map from World at War called Berlin HQ. I figured it'd be an easy tutorial to just go over the basics. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open this 4309049. This is the main mod kit, and this is going to be a basic tutorial. Going to try and keep it short, but it's probably going to be a very long. I hope it's less than an hour, honestly. Okay, so you go into this UGC, and then everything you're going to need for just a basic map, assuming you're not modifying anything crazy, you're not trying to branch out and do your own thing, you are going to open the Z tools, and then everything you need to build a map is going to be in here. Now, first thing first, let's say game logic. Game logic's important. You're going to want to slap down zombie game logic, a perk core, and a Pavlov CoD logic. You can choose to add one of these if you want to be able to jump around in your map. Don't if you don't want to add jumping. And I mean, that's it. That's all you need for the moment, for absolutely need. And then you're going to want to go to Pavlov CoD game logic, and you are going to want to go to your maps UGC, and that should have a definition file in it. Hold up. Right, okay, so definition file. Great. So in the definition file, you're going to want to put your map as the map in both slots, unless, well, we'll talk maybe a little bit more about the Quest map later. Quest can't do a few things that PC can. So for instance, like powered lights. You're probably going to want to make different light actors, but for now, let's just do both. Well, I'll try and touch up on that later. It's not terribly important. If you want different things to happen on Quest, there you go. And then you're going to have, probably leave this alone, Thumbnail, if you want a fancy thumbnail, leave that alone. Hidden, you don't want that hidden. I don't know if they changed it in mod.io where you can play a hidden map if you're the dev. Okay, so for compatibility, check custom if you want to be able to play this with 10 people. Check zombie co-op if you want to be able to play it with 4 or 5. I think they changed that again. And then check custom game mode, absolutely. And then save. And then with your definition file, you're going to want to get that into your Pavlov CoD game logic. That is important, or else it's just going to crash on startup. Or it's going to kick you to the main menu. So there's that. Now, the next thing we want to do is Pavlov player spawns, which I think is going to be in the place actor. Pavlov pawn. Pavlov spawn. There we go. Yay. Just drag a couple of those in. Let's say 2 here, and then 2 on this side, because there are 2 starting rooms in this map. This is going to be a bit of a slow-winded tutorial. Make sure it's not colliding with anything. Yeah, obviously, definitely go to your player collision. Make sure everything's kosher. Make sure you can see the collision on everything. You'd be surprised. All right, now back to mod kit tools, and then zombie. Oh, you're gonna want an exponential height fog after if you're gonna have dogs on the map, especially. Drop that in. Because for fog rolling in for the dog rounds, that's going to be important. I don't really know anything about fog settings, so I'm just going to leave them at default. CGL, perk core, player spawn, zombie spawns, and a mystery box. So let us put a mystery box location. You're going to want to have the arrow. Let's turn it around. You're going to want to have the arrow facing the direction the box is facing. And you're going to want to give just a couple of inches of space between that and the wall, or else the lid's going to open and clip into the wall. And then we want zombie spawns. So let's get zombie spawn here. And let's get a barricade here. So the arrow is going to face the direction the zombies are going to vault into the map. So you always want the arrow to be inside the map. And we're just going to line that up nice and purty-like. Try not have the wood clipping into the wall. And then try and have it aligned in the center of the actual window. And now here, with the zombie spawner, barricade, gonna select an actor. Okay, so pick actor from scene. Then you go over, click your barricade. And then this is the spawn room. So for all the ones in the spawn room, you are gonna wanna hit active default. And if you want it to be a dirt riser, you hit riser. You want it to be a water riser, you hit water riser. If it's going to be active default, let's not worry about door flags, deactivate flags, activate on wave just yet. That's for something like if you wanted the panzers to spawn in on round 8, like it won't start until round 8. ZGL, oh, don't worry about that. That'll be automatically filled, so you don't have to do that. Just that'll start. And then if you want zombies to not spawn from this spawn location until the power is on, you can click this and then, like, you know, give it a power switch flag for something like, say, on Kino der Toten, the Nova crawlers don't spawn in until you turn the power on, so you would want that. But for now, we got that. Let's make them face this way, because OCD, I guess. That doesn't really matter that much. I mean, it kind of matters if you're going to see them spawn, but this is around a corner, so you're not. So I'm not going to make him a riser, because he's not around a corner. Because he is around a corner. And then you are going to want to nav mesh bounds volume. Get that down. Let's slap that in the middle of the map. Oops, whoa. Oh, Speedy Gonzalez. Okay. And then let's make that very wide. Let's do 100. Is that going to be wide enough? Yeah. Let's do 50. You want it to like barely cover your entire map, but you do want it to cover your entire map. Yeah. And then we hit P, and that'll show all the areas that the zombies can move. So at this point, save. And then if you installed the mod correctly in your project settings, you type in game mode, and it should be editor GM and character tester as the default classes. And then over in the world settings, make sure game override is set to none. You change this, all it's going to do is break things. And at this point, I am going to have number of players 1, standalone, default player start, and then new editor window. And we're going to test as the character tester and see if the dude spawns in. Any second now. Please. Aha. He is not spawning in. We do want to test at this point to make sure. Yeah, because we want to say, okay, let me figure that out real quick. I know what I did. I forgot to add a supported zombie type. This is a Verrucht style map, so I'm going to add a Verrucht zombie. Clicky, clicky. Uh-oh, I'm on the wrong side of the map. Okay, whoopsie. Okay. So for now, I'm just going to have them all spawn here. Hello. There we are. At this point, I would honestly recommend just uploading the map, make sure everything compiles, make sure you're able to run it in-game and that nothing's freaking out. Yeah. I am the type of person who likes to do several iterations, several steps, just make sure everything works at every checkpoint. So then you can identify what you did wrong. Also, if you don't already, keep regular backups of your project. You will thank me later. Just like, you know, over in, let's say, here. Yeah, Legacy and Dev. Basically, I just have like a second hard drive. Yeah, backups, Legacy, and then I just have like, I mark dates and comment them all, and I just drag it over and copy it. I highly recommend that. Can't recommend it enough. Okay, so now I think we're gonna add more spawns. So let's get another zombie. Let's get another barricade. Let's get this zombie going to this barricade. And we're going to do that for both sides here. Let's do Control, Control C, Control V. Drag them on over. Loosely in the middle. And then oops. Okay, so back in there, copy paste over there. Let's flip you around with a negative, and then let's give you a new barricade to go to. So one for barricade 3, one for barricade 4. And now there's 2 different spawn rooms here. So now, since this is a split spawn, I'm going to want to split it up so that if you play solo, you spawn on this side, you don't want those zombies spawning over here. So we're going to start messing with zombie zones. Alright, gonna plop a bunch of these down. Let's resize it to cover the entire room. You want it to be like just at the edge of the wall. You don't want it to be in the other room, or else zombies are gonna spawn when you're in the wrong room. So let's look over here. So yep, just barely inside the door. Size that out here. And then cover the entire room. This is going to be a Zombie Zone 1. We're going to copy paste it. Then over here is going to be a Zombie Zone 2. Just barely inside the room. I'm not too worried about this, because if you have this door open, you're going to be able to be on both sides of the spawn. You'll see later. So you can be a perfectionist. You should be a perfectionist, actually. I'll just do that. More perfectionist tendencies, less glitches. So you know what? I'll just practice what I preach here. There. A little bit more. And then Zombie Zone 2. Now, so these are all active default. They're all zombie Varrock sprinters. And then this is going to be Zombie Zone flag. It's going to be, we're going to stick 2 in there. 2. Oh, you can edit multiple, of course, by Shift or Control clicking both. This will be Zombie Zone 1. So now, when I hit play, they're only going to spawn in from this side. Any second. Or did I reverse that? I reversed that, didn't I? No, I didn't. Am I just impatient? There we go. Oh, maybe because it spawns me in the zone, it doesn't think that it's, Okay, yeah, maybe I gotta overlap it. And then they start coming in. Definitely explain that in a bit. So now, mesh bound volume, doors. I'm looking at my notes. I do have brief notes. Should spawn door flag zones. Okay. Also, we're going to want some dogs on this map. How about that? That sounds great. Let's throw in a zombie spawner in the map. Here and here. And these 2 guys are going to be active by default. We're going to give them a wolf. And you can kind of... Oh, no, don't do that. Please don't do that. Gonna angle you just a little bit, nice and pretty. Okay. And then, yeah, zone flag, and that can be zone flag. That's 2. Alright, so then copy paste. Let's move you over here. Except maybe you should go here, and maybe just you can be standing like that. And then you 2 gonna be Zombie Zone 1. And then you got dog spawns. So now let's move on to doors. Oh, zombie types. Actually, let's talk about zombie types. So Der zombie is going to be your basic like Black Ops zombie, or well, Der. There is a little World at War specificness to this mod, like the fact zombies can kind of hug you a little bit, they're kind of sticky. But Der, you're going to have like the kind of rotting zombie face. They're going to have normal animations, normal everything that you just normally expect. Shinonuma zombies are a little different because they have different animations, different models. Varuk zombies are going to be your super sprinters. And then the base BP zombie is going to be like your Nocturne and Toten zombie. That's going to have different audio. So select the ones you want. Like I said, this is a Varuk style map, so I'm going to stick with the Varuk zombie. Now I am going to move on to doors. So we're going to place down a door. I already have these entities on the map, so I am going to want to replace them, of course. So I'm going to highlight the door model I want. Then I'm going to go to this door actor here. We're going to go in here to the individual detail panel, go to base, and then use selected asset. And now we got the door. So then after that, what I like to do, just in this instance, going to copy the rotation, paste it, going to copy the location, and then delete, and then we're going to paste the location. Now, everything's a little messed up, so we're going to want to go to like each little thing individually. Going to go to the buyable widget component 1. We want to set this in the middle of the two doors. Turn it around. Get it about eye level, give or take. And then do the same thing with buyable widget component 2. About 90 degrees. Get that there. And then we are going to want to get our invisible wall. We want to get that in the center here, because the door itself, the mesh does not have collision. So we rely on the invisible wall because it's just cleaner. And then we want to stretch it to block the entire passageway so that players can't cheat. Perfect. And then by interact box, we want that to cover the entire area too. You want to have it slightly outside of the actual door model. You want to make it easy to buy, so make this box nice and generous. And then, yeah, I think 1,000 is good for now. I don't remember the actual price. I'm going to have to go through this map later and look at the actual prices of the doors, like in World at War. But let's just say all the doors are 1,000 for now, because that's easy. So now, basically, I'm going to copy-paste this door. Let's move it on over. Oops. I want to make that grabbable easy. So model. Oh, it's a slightly different model, huh? Okay. And then we get base, replace that. And since these two are going to be the same door, essentially, what I want to do is highlight interact box, hit Control, widget component 1 and 2, and the invisible wall. And basically, I'm just going to drag them way under the map where and make sure it's outside of the playable area, because you don't want that happening. So I'm going to copy the location, delete, and then I am going to paste the location. And now to get both of these doors to open at the same time, you're going to want to use door groups. So this will be door group 2 because it is zombie zone 2. It really doesn't matter. Just remember. You just want to remember it. Like the door groups and the zombie zones, they don't interact with each other, but I do tend to just make them the same number when they're in the same room, just for simplicity's sake. So now these two will open together. So let's test that. Oops. Oh, loading. Let's make sure the zombies are going. Everything's going? Okay, game is playing. It takes a few seconds when you start the editor. Aha, gotta hit the text. So there you go, doors open together. You don't want 2 buy interact boxes or 2 sets of prices or 2 sets of invisible walls because it's just silly. And actually, having 2 buy boxes can make it so that the player can't even buy it. Like if overlapping grab boxes are there, it does tend to mess things up. But as you saw, we do not want the doors to go down because that's just kind of weird. So in the move to open here, instead of -500, we're gonna do 0 that way, and then we want it to move on the y-axis, so that's green. So that is, let's say 200, and then this one we want it to go -200 maybe. Might have my negatives mixed up. 0 out the z, and then you can mess with stuff like how long between purchasing and the door actually opening, how long it takes to open, how long it takes to rotate. So if you got like debris, like your classic Nocturne Toten couch, you want it to like rotate a little as it ascends, just for aesthetic purposes. So you can do that. Open when power, that's going to be these main doors here. Like when you hit the power switch, the doors open automatically. That's what you want. Or if you want the doors to be buyable when you power, you go down to power switch flags, and then it's not going to be powered at first, but then when you hit the power switch, then you'll be able to buy it. But we're not doing that. Let's just explain the rest of this. Open sound, yes, let's do buzzer. So that's going to be in the... Is that the correct asset dump? I don't know. Let me actually see where the heck that is. Where the heck is that? Oh, that's under Reese. That's not what I want. Maybe I should make the buzzer cube. Yeah, I'm going to add that to the mod kit by default. Just that name. Just look for that. But I don't have it now, so we're going to do that for now. And you're going to want to get another one of those. Oops. Let's highlight it. Go to here, and we get that. And then if you do have debris, you want to enable VFX. And then you also want to enable Niagara VFX if you want that classic like lightning and smoke opening. And then VFX after delay. So if you got it opening with the delay, so you buy it and then like say 10 seconds later the door opens, then 10 seconds later the particle's going to play. Or you can have it play the particle at first. I just tried to give you options. I don't know, man. Door, ignore that. If you try changing that, you're going to break things. That's for like literally every other blueprint, but okay. And then I already explained the power switch. Whenever you see ZGL here, listen to what I say about it when I put the thing down. 9 times out of 10, you don't need this, but sometimes it is very critical. If it is a child, okay, so buyable door is a child of buyable object, which is a child of powered object base. If your blueprint is a child of powered object base, you do not need to fill out the zombie game logic variable. It will do so automatically. If it's not, then it is very important that you highlight and select your zombie game logic. Let's see, go back to buyable door. Now let's see which way the door opens. I might have gotten it backwards. This might look really silly. Oh. Exactly. So we do not want the VFX, because this is a door. And then we're going to want to, let's say 100, negative 100. And then this one's going to be positive 100. And then let's see what happens there. Let's just do like 180. And then negative 180. Cool. But as you can see, it's kind of weird how it's the door. So one thing we can do here, you can actually highlight both of them for a lot of this stuff. We want to make it invisible after opening. And 9 times out of 10, you want the collision to disable after opening too, unless it's one of those doors that like opens outwards and then becomes part of the map. So yeah, there's a door. And then when you open this door, let's say more zombies spawn. So I got a little dirt pile here. Let's add a nice little zombie spawn to the dirt pile, and he's gonna rise out of the dirt. So just kind of position him nice and pretty. And then he's a Verrucht zombie. He's not active by default. He is a riser. And then door flag, let's do door flag 2. Alright, so here, zombie spawner flags. We're going to want to enable that and hit 2. And then basically what happens with this is when it's active by default, this is what you want checked if it's in the spawn room. In any other room, you do not want this checked. Because what's going to happen is, and let's remove the, actually yeah, let's keep that. Let's keep that. What was I saying? Okay, door flag 2. So this is not active by default, but it becomes active when you buy the door. So this is door group 2. So when you buy this door, every spawner with door group 2 will activate, and then zombies will be able to spawn in that location. So let's do this. And then we got zombies spawning in here, but they're not spawning over there.
Yes, 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 yes.
Kill. Now they should spawn, as long as I am in this zone. There's my buddy. Alright. So that's what we got there. Now we got a new room. Sometimes that means a new zone, not always. But for zombie zones, you want to be very precise. Like, you don't want this, because then you're going to activate this zone in a different room. You do not want that. Oh, there's just nothing there, actually. Huh. Well, you still don't want that. Just in case. Actually, no wait. Actually, it doesn't matter if this is literally unplayable area. Okay, let's ignore that. It is very important you don't put the zone in the wrong room, though, or else zombies are going to spawn in a place you can't get to them. And then you soft lock the game. So, let's get this here. And then this is not zone 2. This is a different room. Let's say this is zone 4. Now when you're standing in zone 4, that means zombies are going to spawn. Let's say here. You can have multiple zones, so 2 and 4. All right. So all the zombies spawned in here because I'm standing in zone 4. Nothing spawned over there because they're only they're only flagged with zone 2. So again, we'll see all the zombies spawn. So now I'm standing here, so now I'm in zone 2. So now you got them spawning over there, but you also got them spawning through here. So you can control where the zombies spawn based on the zones you're standing in by adding them to the zone flags. But for this, we do want them spawning in zone 4 because it's just one room away. So we do want that actually. So let's add another door. You know what? I am going to add all these buyable doors off screen because that is just quicker. Alright, so I just spent some time setting up all the doors, all the zones, and all the spawns. So I'm going to go and explain through what I just did. I'm also going to give some examples. There are no debris on this map, so I just kind of wanted to show what that looks like. So we got our little couch here. I select VFX, Niagara VFX. The door lightning particle is the Niagara particle. That's your classic lightning. And then added some rotation. It goes up into the air. And instead of the normal open sound, we got the debris compiled queue as the buy sound because it has the buy as like part of it. Because I messed up. So you're not going to want to set it as this, or you're going to hear the buy sound twice. You want to set it as the actual buy sound. And then it just looks a little bit like this. You might even want to add a bit of a delay. Yeah, I think you want to add a bit of a delay to it. Oh, whoops. I gotta wait for the actual game mode to start. Oh, and wrong side. Alright. So, debris, you might want to add a bit of a delay. Alright, so, oh, and particle systems. So, where the lightning is gonna spawn is basically where you put these two locations. Alright, that is debris. So, delete please. I hate how it just randomly doesn't let me delete stuff. Okay, cool. Right. So, one thing we need to do is a power switch before I get too far ahead of myself. Press asset, back up, here we go. This power switch is going to have a switch flag of 1. And we're going to delete that bad boy. Stick them over here. 90 degrees. Zoom in nice and close, get them flush with the wall. Just a little bit recessed into the wall so there's no empty space. There we go. Okay. So, because with the split spawns, once the power comes on, these doors are going to open. So you want it so that if you're standing here, zombies are going to spawn in through this window, but you don't want that to happen when the power's off. So what I did is you duplicate your spawn room spawns, and then what you got here is a deactivate flag. So with the power switch flag of 1, you get a deactivate flag of 1. So when... Oh, do I have to set that in the power switch, or is that just powered? Which flag 1? Yeah, that's it. Add a power switch flag to the power switch. Cool. Don't do that. That might fuck shit up. Anyways, so we deactivate it and 1 here, and this is only going to spawn in with zombie zone flag of 2 and 4. So we got our zone of 2 here, and we got our zone of 4 here. So if you're in either of these 2 rooms, they'll come in through the spawn. But here, we want this to have zone 2 and 4, but we also want it to have 1. And let's do 3. So this room is 1, and this room is 3. Now, there is no deactivate flag here, but there is a power switch flag. So this will only activate when it's powered, and then it's active default because it's the spawn room, and there's no door required for them to start coming in. And then we're going to do the same idea over here. Got this deactivate flag of 1, and then this one has a power switch flag. But then we're also going to... Oh. Yep, good thing I'm double checking. Because these also get a flag of 3. And then these 2 get a flag of 2 and a flag of 4. So, oh, and here's another neat thing you can do. On the barricade board, you can control how many boards there are. For some reason, in this map, there's only 5 window boards in the spawn room in the World at War version, so what the heck? Let's just do 5 window boards. Because I can. And because I can demonstrate that you can also do like 20. And then the zombies really gotta work for it, you know? I think it maxes out at 20. If you if you go too much higher, things start getting kind of weird with the frame rates and the rendering. Alright, so we got this dude in here. These guys, both, we want them to be here for 1 and zone 3, because this is zone 3 here. And then when you open this door, activates all the zombie spawner flags with a flag of 3. So for instance, this room, this dude is going to have a flag of 3. Not 1, 3. Good thing I'm double checking. This door here also has a flag of 3, because if you spawn on this side of the map, you can go all the way through to power and then all the way back, and then open it from this side. So then you would activate it this way. If you don't stick a 3 on all the doors leading into this room, then this guy won't spawn sometimes, and that's important. So he's got a zombie zone flag of 3, of 1, and of 5. Because this is zone 5. Yes, zone 5. And then this dude's rising from the ground. Oop. Yeah, good thing I'm double checking. 3, 5. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. 5, and yeah, 7. But then I also got this door over here. What zone is this? This is zone 10. Oh, you know what? Let's give you a zone flag of 10 too. So if you're standing in area 10, this guy still spawns in. Along with this guy. Want him to spawn in as well. Oh yeah, let's give these 2 also a zone of 10. Now, I'm not going to give the front 2 a zone of 10, because these doors here I made so you have to have the power switch, but it does not open on powered. So once it's powered, it becomes buyable. Which actually, I need to make sure these open on powered. Yes, those open automatically. You don't buy these ones. So he's going to have zones of 10, and then I might as well do the same here. This is zone 11. So these two get a nice ripe 11. Multiple values for the barricade. Oh yeah, because there's 2 barricades here. Never mind. I thought I messed up. Yeah, right? Barricade 1 and 2. Barricade 2, barricade 1. Okay. Nope, we're good. Alright, let's continue going over these guys. So this is a door flag of 5. So this door has a door flag of 5. A zombie spawner flag of 5. So does this one. And then this guy, also 5, 7, and 3, but he's a bit too far away from zone 10, so I'm not going to add zone 10 to this guy. Oh, you know what I will do, though? This is... Oh, here's a thing I did in the spawn room. So we got our player spawns here. I split up the zones a little bit. So these are all zone 2. So when you spawn in, it does the thing, and then once you move, you're in a zone. So then the guys start coming. You do want to do something like that. Just make sure that after you spawn in, you proceed to walk into a zone after. I don't think that's how it works in the headset, but for the character tester, just to test things, you do want that. And don't worry about zones overlapping each other. That's totally fine. These are slightly overlapping each other so that there's no dead space, because you don't want to stand in a spot where no zombies spawn anywhere. That's kind of weird. Okay, so I did those, covered that. Ah, the barricade. Another thing on the barricade. We got the end vault point. Sometimes your map geometry might be a little weird. So if the zombie doesn't quite get into the map, what you can do is you can like move this, and then like after he breaks down all the boards, he'll like do a lerp from here to there, and then he'll just a big old vault. But this is a very basic map, so we don't really need to move those. But that is an option if you have a map with weird geometry. Oh yeah, you can also, if you just want a little vault entrance, hit 0 window boards. Then, yeah, if he's just jumping over a fence or something out in the woods, that's what you want to do for that. This guy, he is not a door flag of 2, he's a door flag of 10. 10. He's a riser. He can be either a Varrock zombie or a wolf, because he's inside the map. Usually you want wolves to spawn inside the map. You don't want them to spawn outside a barricade. I got a little thing to prevent a soft lock if you do by accident, but it doesn't look good. You want them inside the map. Then let's give him some zones. Let's say this is, what was this, zone 10? Zone 10. So we got 10 there, but we also got zone 1, 3, and 5, it looks like. Or just 1 and 3. Just 1 and 3. Okay, and then this guy, yeah, I got him all set. Definitely be careful about copy-pasting these things, because that's what I did, and that's why all my zone flags are wrong, because I just kind of skipped a step mentally. So definitely be careful, but obviously, you know, we can always test, and then frequently test just to make sure things are working as you intended. Correct direction. Hit the box. There you go. Okay, so we did that. So for how I'm setting up the zombie zone flags, basically, usually you want it to at least be the zone that they're in, as well as one zone to every side. Just so they can spawn a little ahead of and a little behind the player. If you spawn them too close, it just feels kind of weird and unnatural, but if you don't want them, you don't want to be like in the back room over here, and then you have to wait for all the zombies all the way up front. So that's what the zones are all about. Now, one spawner I want to do, this is a good demonstration. I want a zombie in here. He's going to be facing this way. Maybe a little bit closer. And he's going to have a bit of a problem getting into the map here. He's not going to have a barricade. He is going to have a door flag of 5. Yes, he's going to have a door flag of 5. No barricade. He's a riser. And then zone flags of 5, 3, and 7. 5, 3, 7. So that's zone 5, zone 7, and zone 3 there. So, and then these are the fun parts, navlinks. Let's talk about navlinks. So we got a climbing navlink here, because he's got to go up a little bump. So you want to give him a little something something. Make this face that direction. Okay, does he have... Yeah, no, he has no navigation down there, so I need to go to my nav mesh bounds volume. Let's give that a Y of like 4. Oh, that might be too tall. Whoa, that's not what I meant to do. I thought those were unlinked. Let's do... Well, let's start with 2. Okay, now he's got some navigation data down there. And you hit P, that's the hotkey, to bring up the green stuff. So now, the first point, you want this to be inside the green here. And then you want this. Ugh. I don't like that. Why is it all so... You know what? Recast nav mesh. I think... Because there's like a cell size or something. Yeah. You want to bring that down to like 11. Okay, that gets things just a little bit closer. Damn, I wish I could really... Maybe I gotta disable collision on these things. Let's go to collision, do some custom, ignore, visibility, bullet, and grabbable. That makes it so that, well, a few things rely on visibility in the mod kit, and then you want it to collide with bullets, and then grabbable is like items that you hold. Other than that, then, okay, so navigation, can ever affect navigation? No. Okay, that didn't do anything. I don't like how far away that is, but whatever. This is just an example, so we're going to deal with some jank. So this second little cylinder here, you want to... you don't want to do that. Excuse me. There we go. You want this up and out, and you want that kinda... You want the middle to be right about there. It's got to be overlapping the green. It's not too big of a deal. And then in order to test this, here's how to test this. BPs, editor test, and then there's a zombie spawner button. And in order to test navlinks, this is what I usually do. So let's get that, and then where they spawn, let's move that to be inside the elevator shaft. Move it down a little bit. And then zombie spawner button, we're going to get, let's just get one zombie. And then it doesn't really matter what type. Do it on start. And then whatever speed. You can mess around with this for yourself. I'm not really going to explain it too much. It's not too big of a deal. And then here, we want to do current camera location. So wait for the UI to pop up. And he's thinking about it. He's trying. So not quite. Something's a little bit off. So it is going, it's going up. That's important. That'll change the animation. And then the rest of this should be fine by itself. Was it? I feel like I gotta pull open Doris just to see what the heck did I do last time. Oh, let's copy. I think I gotta copy this. And then I gotta paste it into here. I think that's what I do. Nope, that's not what I meant. Nope, we want to spawn out here, thank you. Come on, buddy. Here we go. Oh, he's trying. Oh, well, yeah. Well, he kind of did it. There we go. I mean, it's definitely not designed for this particular thing, but that's how you use it. This is a tutorial map. I'm not concerned about jank. It works. We got it working. So yeah, you want to go into the simple links, the point link. You want to copy the right and then paste it into the link relative end. So that's important. And then he gets there eventually. And did I get the rest of the zone flags correct for this dude? Aha! No zombie spawns there. Let's get a Verrucht zombie there. No dog, because I don't think the dog... Nope, clear. Thank you, delete. There we go. Now here's another thing with navlinks. Dogs don't have an animation for climbing up, so we want to... where was... I had the dog... blueprint... No dog query filter. Yeah, that should be in the navlinks section. Let's move that. Move that to navlinks. There we go. And then we're gonna fix up our redirectors. So, where the heck was I? Navlink, no dog query filter. So, dogs can jump down, but they can't really climb up. So for something like... Oh, wait, Navigation... exception or something? Nav modifier volume. Then we get one of these bad boys. Shrink them down a bit. Oh, a little too much. That's... Okay, that's not quite what I wanted. Nav area default, so everything's going to default there. But we want to give him... or no dogs. We want to give him no dogs. So now you'll see it turns purple. Dogs can't walk where the purple is. So then, let's say, like for Doris in the mainframe room, you just put some of this next to the sides of the climb up spots in the spawn room, and they can't climb up, they have to go around and use the stairs. So that's something you're going to want to do there. Except it's literally pointless because they don't dogs don't spawn down there, so I'm just going to delete it. Okay, but also you don't want the player falling down there, so we're going to start talking about invisible walls here. We have the player blocker. Zombies can pass through a player blocker, but players cannot. Let's get that. Let's just cover the whole elevator shaft. Shrink it a little bit, right up against the wall. And then we'll go floor to ceiling. And adjust it. And then for something like this, here we got, this is what the collision looks like. A little funky. You can jump on top of it. You don't want that. So for that, you're going to put down an invisible wall. Invisible walls prevent both zombies and players from going through, and then the zombie blocker will prevent zombies and not players. But this one's going to be your best friend right here. Especially for just outlining the borders of your map. So I'm going to grow that a bit. Completely cover it. Let's expand it a little more. Okay, that is the power box. Now these wires are a little funky. It's not too clean. I don't want my invisible box being any bigger. Oh, let's cover the wheel just a little bit on the bottom there. There. I don't want this being bigger, so what I'm going to do is change the collision settings. Again, custom, ignore all, visibility, bullet grabbable. So items can interact with it, but players can't jump on the little bits sticking out of the thing here. And then players can't jump on the cart either because there's an invisible wall here. And I'm going to just stretch it to the ceiling. Then I'm going to copy paste. Then there's another one of those buggers over here somewhere. Somewhere. Where was he? Totally forget. Oh, did I literally? Oh my gosh! That was not intentional. Okay, and then switch over to player collision just to make sure, and then here we go. You can see there's a little bit of purple there, so I'm gonna change the collision settings again for this one as well. Visible, bullet grabbable, and you'll see as long as pawn's not there, then the players won't collide with it. You want to do that if your map has like debris on the ground. Just do that for all the debris. You don't want to be bouncing on every little pebble in VR. It's going to get you motion sick. Please, please turn off collision on the stuff on the floor. Okay, and then we got one more little thing over here I want to do. In the power room, we got this little device here. Yeah. I'm going to resize this a bit because this is a different shape. There we go. And then what I like to do, I like making little folders in here just to keep things organized. Let's add a folder. I call this one blockers. And I just put all of my invisible walls. Right click, move to, nope, select the X, move to blockers. I'm going to do that with my player blocker as well. Let's just move you to blockers. And then, so you can keep on working with the blockers in place. What you can do is just make them invisible. It's really bad for, I need to show you what, like, freaking, no, let's show what Derice looks like with the player blockers. Because you're really going to be outlining your entire map in invisible walls. That's just going to be how it works. Yeah, so this is actually what Derice looks like. See all that white? Those are all invisible walls. Outline the whole freaking map. Every little nook and cranny the player can run into. And then for staircases, you want to do something like this. You turn staircases into ramps so you're not having a little bump fest every time you go up them. Like over here. It's just a ramp. You angle it so that it's a smooth experience up the stairs. That is a weird sentence. Anyways, back to Berlin HQ. Turn the blockers off. Now for your map geometry, one thing with collision settings you might want to do, if you don't see your map's outline in blue, here's what you probably want to do. You go to the meshes of your geometry and type in collision, and then down here, collision complexity, you want to change it to use complex collision as simple. And that'll turn like a weird, like 5-6 tri-shape into a very complex thing that the player can stand on, and you see all the nooks and crannies and stuff. That can be important. Next. Okay, let's start adding some wallbuys, it looks like. That's next on the list. Change it back to lit. Wallbuys. There we go. So, we got a bunch of preset guns here for World at War. You can just slap them down and go. Did that really change back? No. Okay. The little thumbnail's lying to me. Ignore that. Okay. And then we also got one for Betty's, one for the Bowie knife, one for grenades, because they work a little bit different than the other guns. But if you want a completely different gun, if you want like a vanilla Pavlov gun or something, you're going to slap down a normal wallbuy. And then what you can do is change the chalk material. I'll include a few of the ones that are compatible with Pavlov in the kit. And then we got, well, you can add the skeletal mesh if you want the little animation of the gun coming out of the wall when you buy it. And then a magazine that gets attached to it. But what are you going to do with the wall buy? So the most important things are, what's the weapon ID? That's how you spawn it in the code. And then what's the display name that the player sees? Got our ammo, we got our pack-a-punch ammo. Are you able to buy ammo there? Does it come with default attachments? And then what do you want the players to say when they do stuff, when they buy it, you know? And then and then this down here is the actual price of the gun. And then you probably want to just keep the buy sound the way it is, because that's just... Oh, it's muted. There we go. But anyways, I'm just going to use a bunch of presets because I can, because I spent a lot of time making them, so it's easy. So for our spawn room, let's start in the spawn room. So I think this since it's a Vruck style, we got an American side and then we got a German side, I think. So here, let's get ourselves a Springfield. And then we get ourselves a M1 Garand as well. You know, just your classic, get a bolt action, get a semi-auto. Get them both in there. And then this side, let's get a Car 98. There it is. And then a Guerre. Well, let's move that down just a little bit, get a little more space. Hello, where are you? Yeah, it's alphabetical. What am I thinking? Okay. And then over here, okay, cool, we got an MP40. So let's delete, hello, let me click, there we go, thank you. Yeah, cool, so we'll delete that. Get our MP40 on the wall here. Gonna wanna rotate 90 degrees. And we got a Betty wallbuy over here. So we're gonna move our Betty, angle that 90 degrees, make it invisible. Let's grab this Betty and delete it. STG. Angle that 90 degrees. There we go. Delete that. Next room. We got a double barrel behind a spawn. I don't like that. So let's move that. Let's move it over here. And then we're in the room. And then we got ourselves a sawed-off. Don't really like it behind the spawn, so it'll go over here. You know what? Let's turn it into a trench gun, because that's an American gun, right? I mean, I don't really know what nationality a double barrel is. There we go. Then we got ourselves a bar. Oh. Let's see exactly where it was. You know what? It doesn't matter that much. I nerded out like that for the actual maps, but this is just a custom map, so whatever. Got ourselves the bar. Got a Thompson. Okay, and then here's another Betty. We don't really need a second Betty, so how about we stick a Bowie knife there instead? Other direction. There we go. Let's move it up a little bit. There, perfect. So that's all our wallbuys. Oh, nope, there's still more. There's one back here. We got Browning and a Type 99. Let's move those here because I want to do some other stuff. How about get our browning over here. Then let's get the type 99 over on this side. Then we'll delete these. There's those. Okay, let's talk about the mystery box. There's only one box location. Let's get another one of those. Let's get a second box over. Yeah, how about, what did I just do? There. Let's get a second one over here. And maybe we get another one. Yeah, that's a good spot. Does it fit? It fits. Beautiful. So there's that. Then we gotta have one over here in this room. Let's just 180. I think I'm gonna move this a little bit out of the way. Yeah, that'll do. And then let's talk about the mystery box variables. Always spawn here first, self-explanatory. Let's keep that in the power room first. Use destroyed mesh. That will be here. If you don't want it to be like this empty, like the bricks and the board, you want it to turn into something else. Or if you want like a little teddy bear to be there. Let's see, do we have any teddies? Got a little teddy bear. And then, you know, he's just chilling. Beautiful. So when we use the destroyed mesh, when the box leaves, the teddy bear will appear. And then cannot be moved to immediately. So the way the box works when you get a teddy bear, it cycles through every single possible box location before coming back and going back to a place twice. So if you click that, that will keep it out of the first rotation. So it has to go everywhere else first before it goes to here. And then box requires power instead. I actually kind of forgot, but mix that with power switch flags, and then you can get like an origin style box where you have to power a generator before it turns on. I haven't used that in so long, I actually kind of forgot about it, but feel free to mess around and figure out how it works. I don't really need to do that right now. Oh, one more thing about zombie zones. Inverted. That's like, well, instead of you being in the zone, that's like you being out of the zone. So that can be used for like, if you want zombies to spawn everywhere but where you're standing. Things get a little complicated, and it's honestly a bit unnecessary because you can just like, you know, this is zone 5, and if I wanted a zombie spawn far away, I just give this guy a zone 5 flag. So it's an option, but I've never used it. But yeah, that is something like, because in CoD, in the original, like, if you're standing on top of a possible dog spawn location, usually they won't spawn right there. They'll like spawn the next one over. Okay, what's next? Let's do perks and Pack-a-Punch. So I'm gonna throw Pack-a-Punch over here in this little area way back here. And then I'm going to give him power flag of 1, because that's the power flag on this map. Then we got ourselves a wonderfizz. Let's have the wonderfizz. You know what? Let's move... Oh, no, the wonderfizz can be... Yeah, let's put the wonderfizz over here. Ugh, that's kind of awkwardly spaced. Well, how about I move this just a little bit, and then I gotta move the blocker, because I moved that. Beautiful. Almost. Perfect. And that gives this guy a little bit more space. Cool. And then is he inside the wall? He is. Let's move you out of the wall just a little bit. And then always start here. Kind of same idea with the box. If you got multiple wonderfizzes, this one always comes here first. You know what? Yeah, let's get a second wonderfizz location in here, actually. And then I will move this. I'm going to move you over to this side of the wall. Yeah, looks good. And then we get a little wonderfizz in this corner. Let's give you a nice, pretty 45-degree angle. And then we got the perk core. So we're going to start talking about that. So if you check no, then this is what controls what perks come out of the wonderfizz. But if you use the perk core, it's going to happen. Oh, let's get both the wonderfizzes and let's make that powered. All right. So now we're using the perk core. So let's go back to our perk core. And there's a bunch of options you can do with the perk core. You can change how much damage Cherry does, how wide the radius is. Ignore that. That needs to be deleted. Headshot is a laser sight. It does not do anything to the headshot odds. Yeah, I mean, you can read through it. It's all pretty self-explanatory. Who's who, merging perks, like when you pick up when you revive yourself, do you combine the perks you bought in Who's Who mode with the perks you had before you downed? Persistent perks, this is like you go down, you get back up. This is, you'll just keep your perks. Except revive on solo. And then global perk limit. Oh yeah, that's good for like other maps, but I'm going to keep it as 4 for now. And then using perks. These are all the perks that'll appear in the wonderfizz. So I am going to remove... So there's double tap and double tap 1. Double tap is double tap 2. I'm actually going to remove that. And then I'm also going to remove Jug, Revive, Speed Cola... And you know, I'll remove this double tap too, because we have those perk machines on the map, which actually I'm going to go do next. Yes, stamina up, movement speed. Double damage. This, thought that was part of, maybe okay, yeah, so the double damage, that is basically going to be if you want it to default to 2.0 or 1.0. So I want it to default to 1.0. And then you can change that in the game as you start up, but it is going to default to 1.0. Gonna leave all the rest of this as is, I think, because they're already set to the vanilla values, and it is kind of weird to mess with them sometimes. But you can give yourself like super jug if you want to just like, you know, tack on an extra 0 or something. All right. Yes, perks. Let's get the rest of the perks. Ooh, we got a random perk machine. I might as well. Just to be obnoxious and throw everything at the wall. So you throw that down. Oh, you know what? No, I'm gonna... Oh, perk machine. Let's throw a perk machine down and just explain it. I know what I'm gonna do with a random perk. So here, we just got, you know, you got your price. Really, mostly what you're gonna want to do is just you throw a perk down and then you set the power flag if you want a power flag. Other than that, honestly, just keep everything default. The prone change, you know, if you bring your headset, you go prone in your living room, this is how much money you get. That's the price of the actual perk. You can change that. Don't. Don't be that guy, but you can. And then I'm actually, yeah, let's throw in the random perk machine. Let's go 180. 180. And then let's do double tap, jug, speed cola, and quick revive. So those are the possible perks. Now, what you can do is, if you want the little Shinanuma animation, then what you would do is tie it to a door. It's not exactly a door flag like the zombie spawners, but let's just say we tie it to this door specifically. So then, when you... let's wait for it to load in. You buy this door. I am inside a wall. Thank you, sir. Give it a few seconds to load in. There we go. So now I do this. There you go. So that's what that's about. But if you want it to just kind of spawn in normally, like say the random perks on Shangri-La, then you just... Okay, let's get that up against the wall, give or take. And then we'll just spawn perk at start. So it won't do the animation, it won't do the sound, you don't have to tie it to a door. It'll just spawn in at the start of the match. And it'll be random every single time, like Shangri-La or the Giant in Black Ops 3. So let's do that. And then I'm going to copy paste. And so now these both have the same pool. So if you get Jug here, Jug can't spawn here. So this you can even do a thing where it's like you have 2 locations but then 4 possible perks. You might not get a perk on certain maps. And yeah, so double tap and double tap 1 are the same machine, the same perk machine. And that will change based on your setting that you set at the beginning of the game. So you can select either of those in the random perk. I think the wonderfizz works a little bit differently, but I think I did code it so that like if you got both double tap and double tap 1 here, it will just go with whatever's set in the perk core. So let's move that out of the wall just a little bit. And then where are the other machines? Here we go. There's 1. put you up against a wall. Just ever so slightly in it. Copy paste. Let's delete you. Let's go back here. There we go. Okay, so that's all the machines. Let's see, we got wallbuys. Oh, traps. We can do traps. Let's do traps. Nope. Let me just fix my notes here a little bit. Right, traps. Oh yeah, explosive barrels. Yeah, just, you know, your Nocturne Toten classics. Let's just throw a couple of those down for the lulz. I think, oh yeah, responsible for undone. Ignore that. I guess this'll make it, this'll make the barrels respawn. Exactly when, I don't remember. Because it's tied to... Because that's a totally different... Okay, so yeah, it'll reset every round if you do that. If you select that and able to reset. Wait, why is that not? Oh, maybe that's why. Haha! Okay, I have a bug on Noct I gotta fix. Or no, I don't. Sorry, we're going down a rabbit hole for a second. Yeah, I need to just learn to trust past me. Everything's fine. Noct is working as intended. Anyways, let's move on to... let's do the flogger. Let's just do them in order. Flogger, you are... Where was I going to put you? You are going over here. Because we're going to be obnoxious. I don't know if I'm actually going to include the flogger in the map, but I'm going to show you how to set it up. So we get 90 degrees. Do a little trolling. Yeah, I don't think flogger's going to be on this map. It just looks weird. So what you'll want to do, though, is angle it so that this is straight down. And then make sure that there's a couple of boxes here. You got this box here, and then you got this box here. You want the bottom box to be barely touching the ground. And then turn the rotation back to normal on the X and Y axis. And then just spin it around on the Z. And then this is the perfect slot for it. And then you got a flogger. We're not going to do floggers. We're not going to do electric traps either. We're going to do double electric traps. Oh, actually, hold up. Let me finish the flogger, because there is one more thing about the flogger. So we got... Let's do... You know what? We're going to have a stupid-looking flogger here. How about that? Then we are gonna select, so the trap we want is the flogger. Let's move, yeah, that can stay kind of in the wall like that, that's fine. You know what, even gonna, how about just nice and clean? It's gonna clip through the ceiling, but like whatever. So the flogger is only going to cost us $7.50. So that's set by default. Then you can change the name if you're a little fancy. The info title, pull lever to buy flogger. And then we're going to get a Ah, yes. And this is the trap itself. Give it a power switch of 1. And then that will change the power switch flag on the trap lever, so you don't have to worry about setting the trap lever. I mean, you can, sure. But it will go by whatever. This thing will just take all the info from the trap, you assign it, and then it'll use that info. So let's get another one of those boys down. Move you over. Let's get on this side. Oh yeah, that's way too high up. Yeah, I want to be able to reach it. Okay. Alright, and then this, the flogger, trap function B, typically to make the flogger spin the other way, because the flogger has like 2 different cooldowns and spins in 2 different directions, so that's what you want to do. Trap box VFX, we'll get to that in a second. And then door. Yeah, you can prevent. Or you know what? Yeah, you want to set that in the trap. So for actual Shinonuma, what I had to do is you get the door flag, and then you select this door. So unless this door is open, you cannot buy the flogger. Oh, actually, let's finish talking about this door, because there are 2 doors on this map. There's like a secret door, and then there's a door, and they're both 10k. So let's just let my ADHD brain do its thing. We're no longer talking about traps, we're talking about doors. So we got this buyable door here. Oh, hold up, I didn't want to do that. I don't want to move the actual... Yikes. I do want to move that, the component. So this door is all the way over here, but the door it affects is all the way over here because the sound that plays when you purchase it triggers where the default scene route is located, not where you buy it. So if you want to open a door far away, you want to put the default scene route at the buy location, and then you want to go down to the routes, and then that's your door, and then you move your door wherever the heck you want. Buy interact box. Put that over here. Let's shrink you down a little bit. We don't need you that big. Let's stretch you out a little bit. Just cover the whole area, but then we got buyable component 1, or widget component, yeah. And then we'll give you a little cute little angle. Ta-da! Oh, and that is a 3D object, sir. Let's just move it out of the way of that. There we go. So that's the door. Okay, back to traps. We have double electric walls. Let's move that. Let's just throw it in here somewhere. Okay. So now the electric wall and the double electric wall is same deal. So I'll show you how to set up the double so that you get an idea of how to set up the single. It's pretty straightforward. So we got our first damage box. When the trap is active, zombies touch this box, they die. So we move that here. Get it covering up that spot. And then yeah, we got our coils. Let's collapse all that. Where's my second box? There it is, damage box 2. Get that over here. Move it. There we go. And then okay, now we got our coils. So here's coil 1. Let's move you, line you up Now this is very delicate work. You want to line it up pretty much exact. And then the trap 4, you're going to want to go to, I'm going to have to change this. By default, it should be electric trap dynamic. That is the one you want to use. And then over here, when you switch to that, you'll see trap length is a parameter now. So let's go to 0.5. Hold up a second. This is looking weird. Why is it looking weird? Why is nothing? Oh, do I have like preview level stuff on? Yeah, I want to take that off. Let's disable the preview. There we go. Now I can see the trap better. So that is Android Vulkan. You click that and it'll show you what it looks like on Quest, and you get a little dude icon up here and you can toggle back and forth. But it does nerf the particles, so I want to see the particles. So we're going to go back to 1. We basically just want to slowly move this around until it's about lined up with the floor. So let's do 1.05, 0.0H. Yeah, there you go. Then it's nice and purty. And then coil 1 is done. So let's move to coil 2. And you know what? I think this is worth doing off screen. Okay, now we're all positioned and moved perfectly. There's a few more things to do. Nope, don't want that. I'm trying to click the actual trap. Yeah, there we go. So, by interact box, control 1 and 2, that's a legacy feature. You don't want that. You want to move that down out of the map. And then we got the electric sound cue. Stick that in the middle of the actual electricity for them good sounds. Don't want it on the wall, you want it in the middle. And then, so we got all that, set all our heights, move that down on the ground. Now we got a trap switch. We got to move that 180 degrees. There we go. Now, aha. Zombie zapper wall control. So for that, what we'll want to do is select that, and then we want to... No, where's the trap box? That's the trap box. Is there the other... You know what? I'm gonna add the variation. Give me a second. So we got fruct. Let's go trap. Nope. Oh, what's it called? Zapper wall control. Let's go zapper. There it is. Let's copy that, drag it over here, copy, but then I want to open this, make sure it has the correct material. Wires. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Don't want that. How about you can just be global black. Global underscore black. Nope, that is... Oh, come on, there's no global black in the base mod kit. Okay, fine. Yeah, that's in the base mod kit. Let's find this. Okay, that's sorted out. Now we want to swap that. Ooh, did it just shrink? Hold up, did it literally just... It shrank. That's so weird. Whatever. So we got that. Now we delete this, and we move this into place. But the lever is going to change location now too because it shrank. What happens? Maybe I just hit 1.1? Nope, 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 nope. Don't resize that or your hand is going to get all funky. Trap box. That is 1.1. There we go. Perfect. Now, go back to the scene route. Reposition again. There we go. Bring it out of the wall. There we go. And then, yeah, the trap, once again, we want power switch flag of 1. And then trap, we can say electric trap. And that's going to be 1,000. And we select the trap we want. And use trap box VFX. We're going to select that because that adds a little particle of lightning that goes up and around over here. So that's what that setting's about. We don't do that on the flogger because we don't have the little thingy on the flogger. So let's just test that real quick. Nope. Okay, so it should be off by default, not powered, because the trap is off. There you go, beautiful. Beautiful. Now, I did the same, more or less, for this trap here. I went through the annoying bit. You know what, let's copy paste this. That's a lot quicker. And we spin. We do a little deleting. We make sure we're not just barely touching the wall. And then we line it up. Beautiful. And then we change which trap it's linked to. There we go. And then this also needs a power switch of 1. There. Now we got traps. Okay. Now back to that. So trap turret. Yeah, let's add a turret. Let's add a turret to the It's awfully congested in this map. Yeah, here we go. Here's a good spot for a turret. Let's add that there. So this is like, you know, your Kino der Toten type of deal. Oh, and the zipline. The zipline is quite the job. I'm not going to be able to fit a zipline in this map, but I will show you how to use it, because it is definitely one of the more confusing ones. 90. Pull lever to buy trap. Let's move it a little closer to the door. And then we select that. No VFX. Turret. And then this has a power switch flag. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, I will have to switch to the test map in order to show you how the heck the zipline works, because this one's a bit odd. Okay, let's get ourselves a zipline. Where am I? I'm going to switch to unlit. It's a little easier to see sometimes. Okay. So we move that, we position it up here. And then, yeah, so start location is going to be here. So we copy, we paste. So that's where it's going to start. And then where you want it to end, you move it down. And just a little bit above the floor. Yeah, like that, like that. Cool. And then we copy and we paste. And then zipline door. So then this'll open a door basically. So let's just pop a door down on the map. Oops. So this door, I need to read the zipline code for a second here. Does the door just need to be powered? Zipline door. Let's type door. Cool. Find references. Get. Unpowered. Cool. So make sure the door opens unpowered. So great. So we're going to do a little, we're just going to give it a power switch flag, that. And it opens on powered. Great. Then I think that's it. And then yeah, we want a trap switch. We want a trap switch. So let's just do that. And then we select the zip line. Ah, yes, the door. So let's move the door up here for an example of why we do this. I mean, it's basically just because of how it is in Shiranuma. Give it a 90 rotation. And then let's just size the whole thing up. Because who really cares? So that should do it. This doesn't need a power switch flag in this example. Oops. Nope, we want to change that to default player start so we actually start the game. Cool. So, come up here. Not powered. Can't do anything. Can't get to the zip line. So what I want to do is you pull the lever to call the zip line. Comes on down. And then the door is supposed to buy. Hold up a sec. I didn't... There we go. You always miss the simple things. There we go. Zipline comes down. Door opens. Then eventually recharges and you buy it. Cool, great. So that's how the zipline works. Beautiful. We want to go back to Berlin HQ. So we did the traps. That's all the traps. Teleporters. Oh boy, teleporters. Right now I only have Derice style teleporters. Was thinking of adding a Kino one, but that'll come another time. Let's get the teleporter down. This map's a little big, so we're just gonna wing it. The map's a little small, the teleport's a little big. Let's get a nice 45-degree angle. Ooh. Yeah, we don't want to see the wall. Beautiful. So there's that. Give it a power switch flag of 1. And then we want to get a telepad down. Yeah, let's... How about... So we got the turret on that side. What if we put the telepad over here? Why not? Then we give that a power switch flag of 1. So it can or cannot drop power-ups. Let's have it not drop power-ups. If it does drop power-ups, you click the drop spawn, and then where the heck is it? There it is. And then you would just position it where you want your drop. And then you want to have it, to make it look normal, you want it to be 88 units off the ground, which it is that way by default, so long as this is on a flat surface. And for because it's like 3D and kind of goes into the ground a little bit, if you can get it on top of like a thing that's kind of indented into the ground, you know, it'll make it look better, but whatever. Cool, so telepad. So no power-ups. Dog spawners. So this is like, it'll force a dog to spawn at these locations sometimes if you teleport on like a high round. So let's do that, yeah? And we want it to be places that we know are open and available. So actually, we're not going to do that because that door could be closed for all we know. So I'm going to make them all spawn in the spawn room because the teleporter relies on the power switch. So both sides of the spawn room should be active. Yeah, these are active default, right? Cool. Okay, just making sure I did that correctly. Yeah, 2... Let's also make these, let's make this a 4 as well. Cool. Oh, and then I could also give it a flag of 11. I'm not going to give it a flag of 1 because I don't want them to spawn if I spawn on the other side. Just give you a flag of, that should be 10, right? That's 10. Yep, zone flag 10. Cool. So teleporter. Oh yes, and then this arrow is the direction the players face when they spawn back in. So I'm going to angle that just this way. Okay, cool. So now we go back to the teleporter. Ah, telebox location. So we want to get ourselves a little telebox here. This is where the players go when they're in the void. So, oops, I think I went a little too far down. I don't need to be that far. Oh my gosh. You know what? Hold up. Zero it out. Where are you? Just outside of the map somewhere. Nice and far away from everything, but, you know, it doesn't have to be a million miles away. So... Oh, this is for Max's quotes. Teleporter 2, active. Teleporter. This is for an Easter egg. Ignore that. Don't need a telepanel. Telepad. Don't really need a mainframe door either. It will work as long as you got these two active. And then this is a little like, if you want the Black Ops 3 Link music, you do that. Extra FX for... Oh yeah, nope. Just keep that disabled. Unless you got the little, you know, the little doohickeys on Doris that are like next to the teleporters, and there's like little lightning that goes up when you connect it. That's what that's for. And then you would position that with the actual, yeah, it's one of the particle systems here. But honestly, 99% of the time, you just want to ignore it. You can fuss with it if you want. Link duration. I don't know if I actually got that working, but theoretically. Maxis's voice quotes won't sync up, but let's see. I'm kind of curious. Or no, well, a better way to see is, okay, if it's 3. So let's do that. So that's off. Cool.
You have 25 seconds to link this link time expired.
Okay, I did get it working, but it doesn't quite sync up with that stuff. So you can extend it. 33's default. That's the only reason you'd want to extend it is if your map is freaking huge, dude. But yeah, the voice quotes don't sync up, so keep that in mind. Try to keep, this a good 30 seconds away from wherever you link it up. So there's that. Let's do a mainframe door. We got a pack-a-punch over here. Let's say we don't want to... Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's say we don't want to reach pack-a-punch until we link up all the teleporters. And you can have as many teleporters as you want linked to the telepad and the mainframe door. I did scale it. So as many or as few as you want. So I'm gonna move this. Let's line it up with the wall. This little box is the invisible wall that'll prevent you from going through that door. So we want that. And then let's get the mainframe opti. That's this big bit. Let's move that out of the way. Don't need that. So now what'll happen is this. I want to spawn on the other side. Actually, I need to turn the power on these doors, so let's do that. That was supposed to go up. That was supposed to go up, thank you. Oh, you know what? Because I never actually linked it up. So we want the mainframe door selected, but then the actual mainframe door, we want a power switch flag. Okay, make sure you set your variables. That's what testing's for. Make sure it all works. So there we go, and now... Or we can go through because we're the character tester, but... Okay, so I'm probably gonna... There's a big old gap here, so I am gonna add a nice invisible wall. There we go. Now nobody can get through, theoretically. And then that'll open when you link the teleporters. Let's play with that. Oh.
You have 25 seconds to link this mainframe.
No, I disabled it.
20. 15. 14. successful.
And no drop.
All teleporters are now active.
So just the one teleporter, right? So they're all active. No, door's open. We can get into Pack-a-Punch. I think I want to lower this just a little bit of an inch. Let's do that. Just so it's not like... Yeah. Just so it's not like awkwardly chilling right there. There we go. Now it doesn't look weird. Cool, what's next? So we got those. Teleporter. Let's go powered lights. So this will be nice. So we got these lights here. I'm gonna just replace all these with powered light. Hopefully this is nice, easy. No! Okay. So now I gotta go each. Oh my gosh! Not trying to do that. What if I think 0 is what I want here. No, that's not it at all. 0, 0? Yes. Okay, let's do that. We want 0, 0. Beautiful. And they're all still in place. All right, and then we do that. And then we got a power switch flag of 1 by default. Let's add some flickering lights. Rather self-explanatory, but let's say this one, this one, this one, and this one. Let's swap those out with a sparking light. Nope. Okay. So now we come in here. And it'll give a little spark eventually. There he is. No? No, okay. I guess the sparking lights need a setting. Yeah, the sparking lights. No, they have a power switch flag. What? Yeah, okay, that's... No, you know what? Hold up. Sparking light has a few variables to look at. So this is the minimum and maximum delay between sparks. Volume multiplier. So that's if you want to change the mesh for when it's on or off. And then there were what? I thought there was like a little still sparks when active. Yeah, okay. How about no? We don't want it to spark when active. It'll basically invert it where when the power's off, 90% of the time it's off, and then it'll spark on. And then when this is checked, it'll be 90% of the time it'll be powered, and then it'll spark and turn off for a second. But that should just... Huh. I'm a little confounded. We're supposed to turn on, sir. Or maybe I just did it too quick. There, no, it's fine. It's working. I think I just did it too quick. When you hit the play button in editor, you got to give it a few seconds before like the game logic kicks in. Okay, so that's a basis on powered lights. Oh, player spawners. We'll get to that in a second. Who's who respawn points? Yeah, let's get a couple of those in. Why not? Just throw in one here. It's a door flag of 7. So same as the zombie spawners. Same idea. Active default. Let's give it a... No, it doesn't need a power switch flag. So who spawned there? Maybe let's get another one here. It's a door flag. Okay, T. T to be able to click through transparency. I try to explain it when I use hotkeys. I mean, I'm doing a lot of back and forth clicking, or like when I'm selecting a thing, you know, you go to that, and then that's where you get the mesh from. Like I'm not explaining that because I'm doing it with the mouse, but this is a door flag of 3 because it's zone 3. Okay, yeah. So we want to give this guy door flag of 3. And this, that's in the spawn room, so we can do active default. And then let's get you, how about one over here? And you are door flag of 4. Oops, not a power switch flag. Door flag of 4. Cool. So that's that. Player spawner. We'll talk about that in a minute. Navlinks. We went through navlinks. We went through those. Went through these. Ah, you know what? Player monkey kill volume. Let's definitely, this is important. Get one of these. Stick it under your map. Don't let it touch your telebox. Get around the center. And then we just kind of size it to cover everything. So if a player falls out of the map, they're not falling forever. And you can, of course, do this in the map if you have just out-of-bounds areas. Like, for instance, you don't want the player to be back here. So let's do this. And then we want to make sure it's outside of the actual playable area. There we go. So stuff like that. You want to outline like the non-playable areas in the map. And can kill monkeys, pretty self-explanatory. If a monkey touches this barrier, it'll disappear as well. But if it's like inbounds, but the player can't get there, but you don't want the monkey to just disappear, like the zombies can still get there, you can disable the check for this one so that you can still throw a monkey out the window and the zombies will chase it. Zombie kill volume. Same idea. Zombie falls out of the map. You don't want him falling forever. So let's get that to 0, 0, 0. Nope, that's not what I want. Do that. Maybe. Yep, under the map. And then zombies will bleed. This actually isn't as necessary because zombies will bleed out if they can't find a player in like 20 seconds. But do it anyways because it saves time. Dog blocker. I don't think that's what I actually want. Oh, you know what? This is this is the nav mesh volume with the dog blocker already installed. I did it the official way, but I made a little cheat here for you to be able to get into there real easy. I should have stuck that in with the navlinks. Oh well, but yeah, same idea. Visible walls, game logic. So we did all that. Easter eggs. Ooh, yeah, here's your classic 3 teddy song. So you scatter 3 teddies around the map, and it does the little stem noise like or fuck it. They'll just not make weird noises. There you go. And then you grab it and it does the thing, and then after 3 it'll play whatever song, and then obviously, you know, you get your scene component, and you move it around and you hide them. Why are the teddy bears so small? Why are they so small? I feel like they should be bigger. Resize them to your heart's content. It's really not that important to me right now. Jump scare collision. Yeah, this one's fun. So if you stare at this with your PTRS, it'll jump scare you. So you can just throw this wherever. So if you look down the scope of your PTRS at this, you get a little surprise. And then radio, yeah. Slap this bad boy down. Maybe give it an actual, like, mesh, and then it'll play a little message. I don't know. I don't really have any message to play, and I don't really have a song for the map, but there you go. There's your classic Easter eggs. Aha, player. Was it game over? Yeah, game over movie. There it is. It's in the game logic. Where is the game over movie? Oh, it's in the oh, there's a miscellaneous? How did I miss that? Oh my gosh. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff. Bump object. Yeah, so that's like kind of like the radio, except like not. Ooh, why is it so? Okay, so yeah, turn that into, let's just get a barrel. Sure, barrel. And then bump object, and then barrel cue, so when you walk into it, makes a little barrel noise. Ooh. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff there, so get out of my way. So here's all the, like, the cues. That should be included in the mod, yep. And then you could just have it like, you know, player walks into stuff around the map. That's what you want. But then that's the same deal with here, overlap sound. Same idea, except you don't need a mesh. You could just outline like part of your wall. Like if you got just like a gate. Yeah, here, perfect. Just adds a little something to the map, you know, a little quality of life, put in a little effort. My voice is going, if you didn't notice. Cage is the name of the cue. It definitely works with the Pavlov pawn. But I guess it doesn't work with the character tester, but who cares about the character tester? That's just about getting the game going. Okay, no fall damage. So if you jump off a height and you land on this, you won't take fall damage. So put that, like, you know, Die Rise had like little mattresses, or Moon had little mattresses just chilling around. Powered audio. Ooh, here we go. So this will play a little thing. Since this is a Varrock style map, we want... what is that called? Well, let's give it a power switch flag of 1. It wasn't like anything like circus. Oh, let's definitely, I think I can give that to the power switch. There's power on sound, additional power on sound. Let's do that. Let's stick that in there, because that is something you can do. But then for this, there's like a Varrock sound. I'm going to have to actually open the map and then go find it, because I forget what it's called. Okay, any day now, buddy. Okay, found it. It's called PAQ. So we got PA underscore Q. There we go. So that's what we want playing. That's the Oh, well, it's really long. I'll just leave it. But yeah. Powered audio. Let's go back to that. So no fall damage. Overlap sound. Water slowdown. That's your Shinonuma stuff. Just stick this over top of any body of water and the player slows down. Simple enough. Buyable drop. Here we go. This is something that was in the original map here. Kind of. You could just buy ammo from these crates. I definitely took some liberties here. But, you could buy ammo before. And then this is gonna be just a max ammo. Let's move the buy interact box back a little. Make it a little wider. Ooh, that's a weird angle. Let's go 90. There, clean. And then let's say that's 10. That's worth 10,000. No, it's worth max ammo. I want this to be a hard map. Let's go 15,000. Or I'm to buy max ammo. There you go. And then, yeah, but where's it gonna spawn? Oh my gosh, where does it spawn? Oh, it spawns on the player. Okay. Yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah, that's that. Okay, let's finally talk about the game logic. Now that everything's set up, there's a lot of funky stuff with the game logic to go through. Alright, so these first three, you probably want to just leave them as default. They sync up with the music. But you can change the time between all these things, between the breaks. Player voice lines, let's enable those. Data table holder. If there is no data table holder, no perk core, it should spawn it by default, right? So no perk core, it spawns a perk core. No data table holder, it spawns one. No song player, it spawns one. Great. Okay, but we do have a perk core, so we want to select it so that we have our changes. Which actually, you know what? The headshot odds. Let's turn that off because that doesn't do anything. Actually, let's delete it. Let's delete it because it doesn't do anything. Game logic. Back to game logic. Data table holder. This is... Okay, great. Data table holder. Data table holder. This is basically if you want custom weapons, custom equipment, custom player skins. You want to make a child of this blueprint. Let's find it. And then we take this, make a child. Data table holder HQ. And then we move it into our actual UGC. Make sure you move it into your UGC. That's important. Has to be in your UGC or it's just going to not work. Could crash the game even. So now that that's in there, we can drag it into the map. And, you do your editing. Let's show you what's going on here. So we got weapon table ID. So if you want to make custom guns, you duplicate this data table HQ, and then we can slap that into our UGC as well. Make sure, absolutely make sure. And then for here, we wanna override this function. So we override the weapon ID. Cool, that's crazy. So now let's just copy, and then we paste. Then the gun goes there. The row name goes down here. Oh, where'd it go? And then this should go straight into that branch. Then we can disconnect these. And then you're gonna, oh no, we don't want that. We want to go back to that other page. Yeah, weapon ID data table HQ. So then we put that in here. And now when we open it, you can add your custom guns to this data table, and then make sure you add them as well to the global info class. Make sure you make a different global info class. Honestly, yeah, like duplicate this global info HQ. Take that, move that as well into your thing, and then make sure that's all added. Like for instance, avatar skins. There's no avatar skins by default, but I want to add them, so I am going to do that. So let's do, this is a Vrux style map, so I'm going to add the Marines. By default, you're just going to have the vanilla Pavlov skins. And then there's the avatar, so you get the name and then the avatar for it. So you'll have to make an avatar component. That is a different tutorial video by a different person. I don't know too much about this. That's Michael Katz's area of expertise. I just do the code. MAR 3, and then we get some MAR 4. Let me do that. But yeah, what was I saying? So it's just vanilla Pavlov skins by default. So you're not going to have these. Okay, so now we got that. We're going to want to highlight it in the browser, and then we're going to want to stick that into the global info there. But we're not adding any custom guns, so that's a thing. But you would want to add those, of course, to this as well if you make custom guns. And then you'd want to add stuff like how many clips you get, how many PAP clips you get, what's the damage per shot, limb shot, headshot, torso multipliers, PAP damage multiplier. That mostly ignore this because that's a legacy thing. That's for vanilla guns. One-handed, does this let you? Do you get to use it when you're down? Priority for the one-handed. So like if you have a ray gun and a magnum, when you go down, you're going to pull out the ray gun. Is it explosive? Self-explanatory. Can it gib? Is it high caliber? Can you shoot their arms off? Is it a shotgun? True. Yeah, because that will change the way points work a little bit. So you want to have your shotguns be shotguns. If it's shooting more than one bullet every time you pull the trigger, that's what you want. And then the acquire vox. When you get it out of the box, what does your dude say? And then what does it turn into when you pack-a-punch it? So the 357 turns into the 357 PAP. And then we got our fall-off curves, penetration curves. This is like range, distance. And then the other one is just how many zombies can you shoot. So this, with a magnum, you can shoot, looks like 2 before. You can shoot through one and then the second one gets hit. And then you can't shoot 3 in a row. So that's that. So yeah, we got Marines. So we're going to add them in a bit. DG2 takes Jug. So if you zap yourself with a Wonder Waft, you want to lose Jug, like old school Derice. Add overhead to server. Keep this false. The only reason you would put this true is if you're trying to get footage for a trailer from like Pav TV and you need to get the server footage. This is basically gonna completely nerf your performance. You don't want that. Mystery box settings, beam color, the color in the sky you look at. That's what you want there. Default Wonder Gun. So that if player just spams start match, this is what's going to be in the box. You can also select from Thunder Gun, or the Winter's Howl, or the Mark II. You got to spell it exactly. You can see that in your weapon ID data table. You can see how to spell it. Round to add weapons to the box. So by default it's 1, but if you don't want people to get the Wonder Waff until like round 10, you can do that. Let's say 4. 4 is reasonable. Fire sales. Enable fire sales. If the box moves, you get a teddy bear. That will spawn in fire sales. Unless you disable it, then you'll never get a fire sale. Let's have fire sales. Sounds great. These are the weapons that are in the box by default. If you pack-a-punch the box, these are the pack-a-punch variants that come in the box. And then wonder weapons. These are, well, ignore the monkey bomb giver. That's just here because the code is weird, so don't delete this if you want monkey bombs. If you don't want monkey bombs, delete it. Flamethrower. So wonder weapons, only one person at a time can have a wonder weapon, so there's no 2 flamethrowers on the map. The default wonder gun will get added to this list at runtime. Pap wonder weapons, same deal, except it's pack-a-punched. And then stinger guns. These are guns that'll make the wonder weapon noise, the little guitar riff when you pull it out of the box. Starting equipment. Starting player skins. We got Mar 1. We got Mar 2. We got Mar 3 and Mar 4. So we got the Verrucht Marines. Starting equipment, starting weapons, you can change that if you want. Most people won't. Dog waves, we do not want dog waves, but we do want to mix the dogs with the zombies at round 10. So in a zombie round, you'll get dogs here. Dog waves are dog waves. Dogs on crack. That's Shinanuma. Back in Shinanuma, they spawned and they were just chasing you instantly. They added a little sniffing mechanic in Derice to like slow them down until they get close to you. Yeah, dogs on crack. This is gonna be a hard map, hopefully. And then this is all pretty self-explanatory. When you start the game, it'll play that in addition to the round change music, which is this, the round start sound. Round end sound. We all know that. Game over. So yeah, the knocked game over sound. It's a Verrucht theme map. So let's do ZV. ZV game over? Oh no, where is it? I want the ZV round end noise. Boo. Knocked game over. Verrucht game over. There we go. That's the one I want. Yes. That's what I want. Hellhound start, Hellhound end. And then here's the, this is for timed gameplay. That just lets you know the round changed and the zombies are getting stronger. Map name. Berlin HQ. I don't really have a material for it, so it's just going to be the default. But this is like, you take a screenshot of your map and then add it as a texture, create a material, turn it into like a UI, a UI opaque material, and then that'll show up in-game. When you start the map, there's like a little leaderboard attached to your wrist that will give you a menu for game settings at the beginning. So that's what that's about. Return to lobby after game over. Don't be lazy, don't click this. What this does is, if you have like a convoluted Easter egg that has like multiple steps, basically on game over, you want to, first of all, make it a child of powered object base. Anything that's a child of powered object base will get a little, let's go up the chain. It'll get a little game reset event dispatcher. Basically, just you can use this to reset all your variables. I would recommend you do that, so that the Easter egg's not like halfway through between matches, because that'd be really weird. So that's for any custom blueprints you do. That's what you want to do. Make it a child of powered object base, and then set your reset logic up to that event, like override it, and then also add a call to the parent, just in case, because you might mess some logic up if you don't. But let's go down, back to that. So, but if you're too lazy, then you check it. If you're too lazy to set up logic to reset your Easter egg, then you do that. It'll kick you back to the Pavlov lobby, basically. Use custom spawn room. This is for like, you played the World of War maps we got, the official 4. You spawn in the lobby, in the menu. We do want that. So if you don't click that, it'll spawn you right here, basically, in the starting room. But we do want it. So what we're going to do is we're going to check that. We're going to get a World at War menu. And then we're going to move that, let's say, like 1,000,000 units in the air. Let's go. Let's also do this to 0 and 0. Just to simplify. So, where did my skybox go? That is my skybox. Hold up. Okay, no, we're good. You know what? This is so close to, like, the map's all indoors, so it really doesn't matter. So let's get it moved over here. It's really not a big deal. You want it kind of close. Definitely put it above your map. Like, try to have this little black box here be directly above your map. Because then that'll just help people who are, like, in the game know what to do. I'm losing words. It's getting late. Oh my gosh, it's 11. I thought this video was going to be less than an hour long. Okay. We're almost done, though. So we do that. So then, yeah, they're in the custom spawn room. So now that they're there, we want to move these up there. So let's move these Pavlov spawns up here into this mess. Are they all inside? They're all inside. Cool. So we got that. 3. Copy paste. We got 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Copy paste. We got 10. place the spawners on this side of the blue line or shit breaks. I'm serious. If you use the World at War menu room, please do. I'm gonna hit end on the keyboard to move the objects to the floor. Yeah, just make sure they're down on the bottom. So now I want to go back down to the map, and now that we move those out of the spawn room, we're going to want to add player spawners in. And since it's a Verrucht style map, what we got here is side B. It's for Verrucht style split spawning. These are active by default. You can also do, like, if you want people to, You can also have, okay, words. Yeah, I'm getting tired. Let's set these up first. 2, 4, 5. Player spawner, 5 of them. Copy, paste, move those over here, and we're going to uncheck side B. Now, we're going to also copy, paste. Let's move those over here into the power room. Now, these are not active by default. It's going to be a zone door flag of 7, so these will not activate until door 7 is open. And players will spawn over here if there are other players who are alive in zones 7, 6, 5, or 8. Kind of same idea with the zombie spawns, basically. Same zone flags. If the player's standing in zone 7, zone 6, zone 5, or zone 8, they'll spawn over here instead of spawning in the spawn room when the round changes. So that's what that's about. So now you'll notice default, if you go default player start, begin play, now we spawn in the menu room. And then when we start the game, it'll send us here. But if you do a custom menu room, you'll want that checked. But if you do the World at War menu specifically, you want to use the use custom startup menu trigger. So if you don't, it'll the little leaderboard will pop up on your hand to give you match settings to start the game. But if you do this, you'll have to interact with a menu blueprint that's here, which I gave you one. But then there's also we got game logic. This is a custom startup, so if you make your own spawn room, put one of these down in there, or like read it to get an idea of how to like do that. You know, if you don't want to use the menu room, but you do want to use a menu room. So that's there for you to use. Let's go back here, scroll down again. So we're doing that. Okay, split spawn. So this is for style split spawn. So yes. And then flavor text. This is the little text that appears like on your HUD at the beginning of the game. So region, let's go. Berlin, Germany. Yeah, I guess this would be Nazi HQ. Headquarters. Date. Let's go December 1945. I don't know. I'm just making it up. But yeah, here I'll kind of show you what it does. So it's somewhere around here. It's attached. You might not be able to see it because the area is small. It'll like show up on your screen. But okay, I think, wow, is that it? Are we actually done? Did I finish? Oh my gosh, did I do it? Okay, cool. Cool. So that works. Beautiful. So I think we're done. So now it's a matter of the Pavlov workshop. So right now this is listed as CoD beta branch. So let me show you a few things on mod.io. Let's go my account. Okay, so this is the where Send beta branch somewhere, right? There you are. Okay, so this is where it's going to show up. So let's name it Berlin HQ CODZ. Definitely put CODZ in the title of your map if you want people to know it's a CODZ map. Definitely do that, because that's how you search it on the mod browser in game. So you want that. Tutorial map. So we get that, and then dependency. Oh, nope. We want to save. Want to hit save. This is a map. It's public. Let's save it. And then dependencies. We want to add CODZ World at War Zombies mod. Make sure you highlight that. But then also, I'm personally going to add Verrucht as a dependency because I used some sound files from that. And I want them to show up in game. I'm also going to use a particle. You know what? There's a... what is it? It was like a generator particle. I want to do that before I forget. Or was that in... Maybe it was in here. Stuff Verrucht. There it is, the generators. Yeah, give it a little nice lighting effect. Yeah. Definitely spice up your map with particles and sounds. Don't let it be an empty sound map. Which I'm going to add some sound cues, but not now, because we're done for the night, I think. Let me just make sure. So I got that saved. And then, so if you add World at War Zombies mod as a dependency, it'll load the other UGCs, the asset dump UGCs as well. So it'll add all 4 of the folders that we started off with. So that's my test map, or no, it won't add this one. That's just a test map. It'll add, here's the particle pack, here's the mod kit, and then here's the actual asset dump. So you want those. Great. So then we do that and we hit save, and then we're good to upload. And then, you know, image, you know, you can do that on your own. And then we hit workshop and we upload. Android for Quest, Windows for PC. Oh, one more thing for the menu room. Testing Boolean. Select this if you don't want people to play the work in progress. If you do select that, honestly, please don't advertise it as CODZ in the name on mod.io. Like, the way I see it, it's like either let people play your broken map or just don't advertise it. And then here, this we want to add you to the admin menu. That's important. Go to the Pavlov game logic whitelist. Put your Steam 64 ID in here. It's going to be a bunch of numbers. And put your quest name as well. Spell your quest name out exactly, and then that'll give you access to the admin menu on quest. And then same idea with this. If you want to be able, if you do it testing, put your name in there, your quest name in there. It will automatically pull, if you have your Steam 64 ID set in the whitelist in the Pavlov game logic, it'll pull from that as well, but this is for quest. And then offline beta. If you want people to be able to play your test map offline solo, do that. That's awesome. Yeah. Like if you just don't want it to be on the server browser, but you want to let people play it, I'd say, honestly, if you're going to check this, check that too. I'm not going to check either, because I know what I'm doing. And then custom toggle of custom Easter eggs. I mean, that's just, it is what it is. If you make custom Easter eggs and you want to give people the option to disable them, There's some logic. You can read the code, figure that out, but it's not really necessary. So one thing I want to talk about is just the change that sound effects and visual effects have on the game. You really want to add, especially sound effects, just to your map because it changes things. So let me turn on the sound and show you. I've got ambient music, I've got sound effects. Things are burning over there. Got some water dripping over here. You can see and hear it. If you walk in there, your screen gets blurry. I think I heard a scream in the distance. We got a gas leak over here. Some particles going. Ooh, somebody's got caught in the elevator shaft. Uh-oh. Yeah, it really adds a lot of ambiance. Baby coming through the loudspeaker. So that's something you want to just do to your map. Makes it a lot better. For two-dimensional sounds, there is something else to do in the zombie game logic here. We have song player. We want to get a song player. And we want to stick that down on the map here. Going to reference that in the zombie game logic. And when we got our 2D sounds here, we don't want these playing in the menu room at the start of the game. So we're going to add that here. We're going to select them. And then this is like just your general undertone music. It's very subtle, but being in a barren map that's just unpopulated by sounds or visuals, it makes you wanna quit. So really spice things up with stuff like that, or like we have these dynamic lights. We have that can be affected by volumetric fog. We have a volumetric fog mod. Use it. You go to the exponential height fog, type in vol. At the top here, enable volumetric fog. Lighting still has to be built, but I will show you. It does make a bit of a difference, especially with these lights. They have particles and light shafts and smoke that is affected by the volumetrics, and it does change the way things look. And the water distorts as well along with that. So stuff like that you want to add. So for the volumetric fog mod, you want to add that as a dependency if you do stuff like that. And then it'll only work on PC. It's force disabled on Quest, but it does add a lot, and you want to try and do that. But I'm going to go build my lighting. We have movable lights here. So when you put these down, for some reason, they default to being movable. Change it to stationary. Sorry about the Discord pings. Let me exit out of that. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'm going to build lighting. You're probably going to want to do that with like perks. Oh, perk machines. I totally forgot this yesterday. So we go to T. We highlight our random perks, and we want a power switch flag of 1 so that the perks are off until you turn on the power. So yes, that's important. Did I do that for the... Yes, I did. Okay. For both wonderfizzes, good. Alright, I'm gonna go fix this error and build lighting. Alright, just a couple things left. So, if you have a bunch of just repeating static meshes, there is some stuff you can do. So if you have just like a million little pebbles on the ground, we have a little tool here. If you highlight them all, go to Actor, Scripted Actor Actions. We have a couple tools here. We can turn foliage into individual static meshes and static meshes into foliage. So you do that, and it starts lagging or something. There, instance foliage actor. And that will just instantly, it'll like instance. I almost want to retake that clip, but whatever. It'll boost your performance. Feel free to use it. If you don't want to make individual HSIM actors, hierarchical instance static meshes, I can't speak today. You could do this instead. You know, it's something. I wouldn't do it if there's only like one or two, something like this, where there's only like 2 of these on the map. Like, probably not worth it. But if you have like 100 little pebbles that are repeating throughout the map, or you got grass everywhere, you probably want to turn it into foliage just to boost the performance a little bit. And you can see some performance if you don't already know this. If you're brand new to this stuff, we got some commands like stat unit and stat draw count. Let's turn those on, and this will show you things. Oh wow. Thousands of draws? From what? Ooh, that's crazy. Yeah, if you want this to run on a quest... Oh, is that coming from, like, the menu? That's weird. Yeah, if you want this to run on a quest, you want to keep those draw calls under, like, 300, and you want to keep the primitives under, like, 300,000. Vanilla Pavlov tends to have, like, less than 100 draws on quest, and less than like 275k, or at least from the couple maps that I saw. You can see these in headset if you add yourself to the admin menu. I have a toggle for them, so that's important for performance. You'll wanna do things like, yeah, instance meshes, or sublevels, or HLODs. Definitely learn about that stuff if you don't know already. And then the last thing, the actual last thing we want to do here, let's turn these off. Let's go to the folder, back, miscellaneous, game over movie. This is the game over cutscene. We'll want to do that. So basically, grab location A. Where he at? Okay. So that's going to be over here. Let's move it to, say, the middle of the room over here. And then location A2 is going to be in front of it. Let's move that over here. And then we'll go to B1. We'll move that, say, over here. Let's move it up a little bit. Location B2. Let's move that over here. C1. Let's move that here. C2. Let's move that back here. You're going in the cutscene. You're going to go from point 1 to point 2. So C1 to C2. Same with A, B, and D. For D, let's have that go to like the power room. And then D2 is going to be like over here. So what that's going to look like is when you get a game over. Okay, last thing for real. 2 things. 1, quality of life. When you stick down a perk machine, stick like a prop or something next to it so people can throw their guns down, drink the perk, and then pick their gun back up without having to bend over and reach it off the floor. And then second thing, when you make a custom blueprint, in order to you want to be able to test it online and offline. So what you can do is, if you want to test it offline, number of players 1, net mode play standalone, and then when you do new editor window, it'll give you the experience of what it's like to play offline. And then when you want to test some things, functionality for online play, change it to 2 players, play as listen server, new editor window, and then get the client 1 window. And this will act like your Pavlov player in an online server.